Right guys, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video I'm going to be continuing with the shelving and cabinets above the mitre station. So before we start, I just want to let you guys know that I'm now on Instagram. I am fairly new to the platform, so bear with me, but if you want to give me a follow, you can. So the first job was to remove all the hardware, i.e. the hinges and the door handle. So with all the hardware removed, I could begin sanding the doors down to remove all the old, very yellowed finish. So the old doors had the Roman ogee profile on the edges, which I don't really like myself. I think it's a little bit outdated. So what I decided to do was run the doors through the table saw and change the Roman ogee into a more cleaner looking simple chamfer, which in my opinion makes the doors look a lot more modern. Right, so the doors have been sanded front and back. You've already seen me remove the Roman ogee profile from the outside of the doors, and I've gone for a clean, simple chamfer, which in my opinion makes the doors look a bit cleaner and more modern. So now it's time to fit the hinges and the handles and fit them to the cabinets. The handles I'm going to be fitting are the exact same handles as I've got on the drawers. I was given a load of these, so all my doors will match. Not sure if I'm actually going to paint the doors or not yet, so I'm not going to apply any sort of finish onto the shelving or doors at the moment. I am thinking about possibly painting the drawer fronts, the front edge of the shelving unit and the doors, but I'm not 100% sure on that at the moment, so I'm just going to fit them and I'll decide that at a later date. The only thing I've got to do, because the screws that come with these handles are really short, so I'm going to have to drill the holes and then countersink the holes at the back to make the screws reach. So to drill the holes for the new handles, I'm using the old jig that I used for locating the handles on all the drawers that I made, but I'm not actually changing the jig. I've just put a drill bit through one of the holes to line it up, and I'm using that just for the spacing. So because the screws that come with the handles are very short, I need to countersink the holes at the back. So I like to actually put the drill in reverse, and that way you've got less chance of the drill actually going all the way through. So with a handle fitted, I can now reattach the hinges and the doors are ready to be hung. So fitting the first door was straightforward. I just had to mark the locations for the hinges and then I could start attaching those to the unit and hang the door. So before I can fit the second door, I need to fit the upright. So I'm just putting that in place. Now, if I'd have thought about it when I was doing all the housing joints for the shelves, I would have actually cut some housing joints for this to slot into, but I didn't think about this bit, so it's just going to be attached with 70mm screws from top and bottom. And to get it in the right place, I've just put the door in the position it's going and I'm tapping it gently until it rests against the hinges, and then I can get inside from underneath and mark the location of the hinges. And this was a lot harder than it looked because my glasses kept slipping off my face and I couldn't see a damn thing, but we got there in the end. Then I could attach the hinges and hang the second door. So once the second door was in place, I did have to remove it so I could add the trim to the front of the upright. And I'm just going to be gluing and pinning that in place as I did the rest. So then I decided to lift the unit back into position, and this was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. And as you'll find out, it took me about 3 attempts to actually muster up the strength to get it back in place. So it definitely gets entertaining when you're doing things like that on your own, but I got it done. So to fit the shelf into the wall to prevent it from falling over, I'm using some of these offcuts from the joist hangers left over from the lean-to build, and I'm simply bending them into an L shape, and that is what I'm going to use to fix it directly into the studs of the workshop. You can see I drilled a couple of extra holes in the centre of the bracket, and that's so I can be sure that I'm actually screwing it into the stud in the wall. And that is going nowhere. Right, so I've had quite a few comments from people saying that they enjoy my channel because I leave all my mistakes in the videos so other people can learn how not to do things. Well, not wanting to disappoint you, I've only gone and done it again. Let me explain. So, when I first designed this shelving unit, stroke shallow cabinets, I made it a random width, thinking I was going to be using some offcuts of plywood just to make some real simple doors. Then I remembered I had these doors left over from an old bedroom unit, so decided to use these instead. So when measuring out how wide I would need it to accommodate 3 doors, it turned out I would need to remove about 1.5 inches from the width. So fast forward, I've now built it all and I'm fitting the doors. So the first problem I come up against was the fact that I'm not able to fit the door on the opposite side of this upright because it's not wide enough to accommodate 2 doors, one on either side. Not really an issue because I could have put the door opening the other way. That is if I'd have actually remembered to trim it down in width. As you can see, I'm left with a ridiculous gap. So my options are to leave it open or try and make a slightly wider door to fit the space. Not sure which one of those I'm going to do at the moment, so for now I'm just going to leave it open. So I actually changed the original hinges, which were a lot smaller than these, because the door didn't actually overlap the frame as much as I wanted to. Turns out, if I'd have actually left the smaller hinges on, that would actually allow me to fit a door on the reverse side. In fact, here's one of the original doors with the original hinges, and that actually allows me to fit that. And although there's a slightly bigger gap between the doors than there are these two, it would have worked had I actually remembered to trim it down in width. But you live and learn. So I think you'll agree they didn't turn out too bad at all, despite my slight cock up with the measurements. Right, well, as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to go and follow me on Instagram, and if you're new here, then why not consider subscribing? It's free after all. So until the next video, stay safe, and you'll see me in the next one. Cheers for watching, guys.